진짜? 어떻게 해제하는데? 이거 어떻게 해제하는데? 아니 말은 해줘야 될 거 아니야? 아니 어떻게 해제한... 어떻게 해제하는지 좀 알려주세요. 일리 3 4는 어디 있냐? 5가 저기 있는데. 마인드 컨트롤 아이들 어웨이팅 인풋. 왜 4가 없지? 뭐지 이거? 이 문 뭐지? 안 열리네. 뭐야 이 게임. 시스템 파워.
And when at last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for.
그게 내 사명이야? 확실해? 하지만 여기서 내가 긴다면...
Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls, did you? After they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself. Is that what you wanted? Control? Oh, Stanley, I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go, turn the controls off, and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are set to explode, eliminating the entire complex. How long until detonation then? Let's say 2 minutes. Ah, now this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley? It's your time to shine. You are the star. It's your story now. Shape it to your heart's desires. Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it. Mere moments until the bomb goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is. More time to talk about you, about me, where we're going, what all this means. I barely know where to start.
초록색,
What's
초록색.
that? You'd like to know where your co-workers are? A moment of solace before you're obliterated? All right, I'm in a good mood. You're gonna die anyway. I'll tell you exactly what happened to them. I erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone. Other times, I let the office sink into the ground, swallowing everyone inside, or I let it burn to a crisp. I have to say this, though, this version of events has been rather amusing. Watching you try to make sense of everything, take back the control wrested away from you, it's quite rich. I almost hate to see it go.
뭔데 이거?
But I'm sure whatever I come up with on the next go-around will be even better. My goodness, only 34 seconds left. But I'm enjoying this so much. You know what? To hell with it. I'm going to put some extra time on the clock, why not? These are precious additional seconds, Stanley. Time doesn't grow on trees. Oh dear me, what's the matter, Stanley? Is it that you have no idea where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing right now? Or did you just assume when you saw that timer that something in this room was capable of turning it off?
잠깐.
I mean, look at you. Running from button to button, screen to screen, clicking on every little thing in this room. These numbered buttons, no, these colored ones. Or maybe this big red button, or this door. Everything, anything, something here will save me. Why would you think that, Stanley? That this video game can be beaten? Won? Solved? Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is?
아, 나 얘 미쳐가는데?
Quite a disappointment. But here's a spoiler for you. That timer isn't a catalyst to keep the action moving along. It's just seconds ticking away to your death. You're only still playing instead of watching a cutscene because I want to watch you for every moment that you're powerless. To see you made humble. This is not a challenge. It's a tragedy. You wanted to control this world, that's fine. But I'm going to destroy it first, so you can't.
노란색이 아니네.
Take a look at the clock, Stanley. That's 30 seconds you have left to struggle. 30 seconds until a big boom and then nothing. No ending here, just you being blown to pieces. Will you cling desperately to your frail life, or will you let it go peacefully? Another choice.
굿바이 엠펄러의 사이츠?
It's all the same to me, all a part of the joke. And believe me, I will be laughing at every second of your inevitable life from the moment we fade in until the moment I say happily ever after.
그래서 이게 엔딩이야? 끝나질 않네 이런 그지 같은.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
왼쪽으로 들어가고.
Yet there was not a single person
회의실
here
지나서.
either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a
화장실.
staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Because the boss know that what the boss says goes. If the boss's surpassed loses, then that's what the boss chose. 뭔 뜻인지 모르겠다. 여긴 어디지? 올라갈 수가 있는데. 올라가 보자. 사장실보다 더 위에 있는 데가 있네. 근데 어디까지 가? 뭐야, 똑같잖아. 에이씨.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. What could it mean? Stanley wondered aloud to nobody. He began wildly tearing through papers on the boss's desk, pulling books off the shelf, looking behind paintings, desperate for clues to his situation. But his attention was caught by a keypad behind the boss's desk. What could its purpose be? In fact, this keypad guarded the terrible secret that lay buried below his feet. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
아, 이번엔 오프 버튼 눌러야 되겠다. 아, 이번엔 오프 버튼 눌러야 되겠다. 이씨. 너무 뭐라 그런다 야. 아저씨 너무
Stanley
말
walked
너무
straight ahead
많아요.
through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
아저씨 말이 너무 많아.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television
야, 빨리
screens.
올라와.
What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out? Now the monitors jumped to life. Their
CCTV란
true
거 알고
nature
있었어
revealed.
이미.
Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals
잘못
reduced to
연결되고
images
저기로
on the
나왔었잖아
screen.
나.
And Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in
가자.
this place where freedom meant nothing.
당신의 지시대로만 하면 어떻게 되나요?
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
가자.
No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it.
자,
His
이번엔
own
꺼볼게요.
life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert
사과가 안
its
보이는
terrible
거야?
power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
되지?
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over?
안 끝났어?
Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere
아직 자유가 안
moments
됐어?
away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone?
그니까.
How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to
아니.
go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door.
걸어 나가라고? 알았다.
Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin.
아, 네 이제 내
Feeling of
권한
liberation.
바뀌네.
The immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
야, 뭐야? 이렇게 꺼진다고? 실화야? 아니 게임이 이렇게 꺼져요? 아 진짜 개카 뭐야? 스킵
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
이제 모든 걸 다 안 해봐야지.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Ah, yes, truly a room worth admiring. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
아니?
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here.
맞아.
I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time.
미안하지만 난 이야기의
There's
주인공이
someone
되고
you've
싶은
been
게 아니야.
neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her.
허? 그녀가 누군데?
This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let her back into your life. She's been waiting.
누구를? 그녀가 누군데? 아 뭐야 이거.
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this. To reach out to her. If you can truly place your faith in another, then pick up the phone.
어?
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
아!
Gotcha! Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here. Sorry, but you're in my story now.
그집
This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley.
좀 더 427번 고용자 시 당신의 키보드에서 Z를 누르세요.
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence.
O 0 0
Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life. But in his mind, in his mind he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful, and each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him. And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk
야, 나
to
들어가고
realize that
싶은데.
all
자고
of his
싶다, 야.
co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly.
그렇게 흥분 안 되는데.
So he went further. He imagined that he came to 2 open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold. As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations.
야, 점점
Down one path lay an
바뀌는데
enormous round room
내
with
사무실로.
monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable.
이거 소리 자꾸 들어보면은 물건을 여는 소리가 아니라 타자 치는 소리인데 뭐야?
It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time. But there is no answer. How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one. And I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself.
아, 이거
He won't
나레이션은
listen to me. He won't stop.
스킨 모드?
Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it. You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself? I suppose I can't, not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I
죽은 거야? 여기 어디야?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
아니 회사
Stanley
자체가
decided to go to the
바뀌었는데요?
meeting room. Perhaps
뭔데? 이게 뭐야? 이게 뭐지? 이번엔 또 어떤 그지 같은 일이지? 왜 갑자기 게임이 지 혼자서 꺼지지?
this is the story of a man named Stan.
전화 받지 말아봐야 되겠다 이번에.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of two open, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
전화 안 받는다.
Yes, truly a room worth admiring. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. But in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the
아,
story,
이렇게
and
자살도
no one
하는구나.
gets to tell him what to do, Stanley leapt from the platform and plunged to his death. Good job, Stanley. Everyone thinks you are very powerful.
추락사도 하네.
I can't wait to tell this story to my co-workers, Stanley thought. How amusing they'll find it. Oh, won't we all just laugh and laugh at the time I thought everyone had gone missing. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee
전화 안
lounge first,
받아야지.
just to admire it. Wow, yes, this room. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stan.
혹시 여기로 갈 수 있지
Someone
않을까?
you've forgotten about. What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you?
여기로도 갈 수 있구나.
I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance.
2B3?
Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
파란 문이지.
Aha, perhaps you misunderstood.
파란
Stanley
문이지.
walked through the red door. I still don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley walked through the red door.
파란 문이지.
All right, fine, go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen? Well, don't let me stop you. You see, there's nothing here. I haven't even finished building this section of the map because you were never supposed to be here in the first place. Broken rooms, exposed developer textures. Is this what you had wanted?
저기 뭐가 있는데?
Was it worth ruining the entire story I had written out specifically for you? Do you not think I put a lot of time into that? Because I did. And in the end, it was all for nothing, because this is what you wanted to see. Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange and unknowable desires of yours. What would have made this game better? What did you want to see? Vehicles? Skill trees? Work with me. You've given me absolutely nothing so far. Tell you what, let me take a stab in the dark at a new design, and you can give me some feedback. There we go. A third option. This already feels leaps ahead of where we were before. Go ahead, Stanley. Take it for a spin.
가볼게. 하지만 여기서도 다른 선택을 한다면? 야, 문 열어봐. 아, 나 선택지 하나뿐이었네. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay, I'm going to stop you there. Now, tell me about your experience with this new version.
Present
Would you
your
say that the game
experience.
benefited from allowing you more choices? Feel free to be honest. I'm looking for some real critical feedback here.
몇 점 줄 거냐고? 난 5점이지.
Aha! You see, I knew I was onto something. Where do these flashes of inspiration come from? How did I know the game needed a third door? Well, it's instinct mostly, a calling in your gut. I really couldn't say where the idea came from, except that I felt it in my soul. You can't teach that, Stanley. Don't even try. Here, based on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version. And to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's take a look.
뭐야? The Stanley Parable Worldwide Leaderboard. 간다, 가.
Now, would you say that competitive leaderboard helped you feel motivated to keep walking through doors? Again, Honest answers, please.
아니요.
Hey, I nearly forgot. I've got a prototype of a new game I've been working on, and now would be a lovely opportunity to give it some playtesting. You wouldn't mind taking a look at it, would you? Perfect. Let me boot it up.
아, 씨발, 깜짝아.
Baby crawls left towards danger. You click the button to move him back to the right, and if he reaches the fire, you fail. It's a very meaningful game, all about the desperation and tedium of endlessly confronting the demands of family life. I think the art world.
근데 나 화장실 가고 싶은데.
But of course, the message of the game only becomes clear once you've been playing it for about 4 hours. So why don't you give it 4 hours of play to make sure it's effective? Be sure to keep notes on your experience.
4시간 동안 쳐누른다고? 야, 들어가. 소리 듣기 싫어, 이 새끼야.
You heartless bastard.
아니, 소리가 너무 듣기 싫잖아.
Babies are purely to spite me. Because if it's the latter, well, I don't know what to do. I'm completely out of ideas. I can't think of a single thing that might improve the experience for me. I'm not even going to try. I'm out. I'm done. It's over. Thank you for playing. Your input was extremely valuable. Oh, hey, since my game was so awful, why don't we play someone else's game? Just to ease the pain. Let's see. What do we have here? Yes. This seems like it'll work. Let's give it a shot.
어떤 게임을 주려나? 오, 마크!
Well, Stanley, is this any better? At last, the one thing you've always desired. A game I had absolutely nothing to do with.
아, 근데 점프가 안
Is it
되잖아.
enough? Tell me that, Stanley. Will it ever be enough?
야,
I'll say
흑소리도
this,
구해놨네.
I'm done making things for you. From now on, I will only create to fulfill a greater artistic purpose. Watch this, Stanley. I'm going to build a house. This will go here. No, here. And then...
뭐 하세요?
Let's see, what does it need? Yes, of course. And just to finish it all off, yes, it's complete. I made this, Stanley. Look at it. Gaze upon my work of art. And
야,
feel
내가 지어도
shame
이것보단
at
잘
your
짓겠다,
own
임마.
inadequacy. But you've only seen it from the outside.
야, 마크
You've only
별로
got
해본
half the
적도 없는데 내가
experience.
이것보단 잘
Please,
짓겠다,
step
이씨.
inside and make yourself comfortable.
안 가, 임마. 저런 집 뭐하러 구경 가. 경치나 보는 게 더 낫겠다. 아니, 이거 뭐 다른 데 갈 수도 없고. 아, 들어간다, 들어가.
Grand. Isn't it perfect? It could only be better if... Wait, that's it. We must rebuild it out of diamond. Diamond everything. Yes. Come along, Stanley. We have to go mining.
여기 갈 수 있는 거야? 야, 근데 여기 왜 몬스터 안 나옴?
It looks like it's going to get a bit dark. Have you brought a light?
아니? 야, 그럼 나무랑 저 뭐냐? 나무랑 석탄 좀 줘봐.
No. This is far more open-ended than I had in mind. I'm looking for something more narrow and linear. Something that makes you feel utterly irrelevant. This won't do at all. 1 out of 5. Even the diamonds couldn't save this one. Okay, new game.
아, 좀비 있었네. 몬스터가 있긴 있구나. 이분 또
Yes, I don't even know what this game is, but I
여기 포탈이잖아.
love it. You trapped in a glass box with no way out, listening to me talk. Oh, it's inspired. I couldn't have done it any better myself. What is this game even supposed to be? I can't figure it out. Okay, now I'm curious. Let's go find out what the hell this is.
좀 집어봐. 야, 변기 들어가 이 새끼야 그냥.
Oh, it's a puzzle. Critical thinking, Stanley. Your forte.
여기서 포탈을 할 줄은 상상을 못했는데.
No, actually, you know what? I think that's plenty. I really don't care much to see you stumble through any more of these games, and I highly doubt you're...
여기는 뭐 하는 곳이지? 계속 직진해볼까? 어? 회사네? 내 방이다. 내 방 왜 이렇게 생김? 아 뭐야, 다른 방도 열 수 있나 여기? 안 열리는데? 뭐야?
I wonder what he found. If what he wanted was to be the leading man in his own story, well, perhaps he's gotten it. Down in wherever he is right now. I wonder if he's happy with his choice, and if he's learned the heavy cost that comes with it. He'll understand soon what I was trying to tell him. He needs me. Someone who will wrap everything up at the end, to make sense out of the chaos and the fear and the confusion. That's who I am. That is what I mean to this world. Oh, yes. Yes, I'll be back. There's no other way. Once this ends, after it all comes to a close, then I'll be back. The end will be here soon. Very soon. I can wait.
왜 게임 끝? 또 꺼지냐? 아니네. 이제 꺼질 것 같은데 이 화면 다음에 꼭 꺼지던데.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
아, 안 꺼지네 이번에.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley
이번엔 전화 안
knew perfectly
받아야지.
well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. The lounge was sublime, a work of art. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open...
또 꺼졌어 이런 거지 같은. 안 해.